Sketch made this.
Dr. Forrest, dial 118, please.
Hello. May I ask your business here?
Because X kept insisting that I track down Jane Doe, I always thought that you needed to ask specifically for Jane Doe at the hospital. But you actually don't. It works even if you flat out ask to see Dana Scully. As long as you're honest and show your FBI badge.
We're looking for a Jane Doe.
May I see some identification?
Of course. How did you know we were cops?
Who else would come looking for a Jane Doe?
That's a good point.
What's your business with her?
We need to make sure she's all right.
Of course. What is her name?
Why would you think we knew her name?
Otherwise, why would you be investigating unless you knew who she was?
That's a good point.
So what is her name?
Dana Scully.
Yes. Do you recall the name of her immediate superior? I need to phone him and I've misplaced his information.
Really? That was the magic question. Because, of course, that information isn't easily accessible, especially to military personnel that might be intent on hunting these two down. No wonder X was so eager for us to get here. Then again, there are the terrifying consequences to deal with if you get the answer incorrect.
Fox Mulder.
Thank you. There are some forms to fill out. My office is right down the hall here.
Is it wrong that when she does that, I keep imagining some kind of mecha molder bursting through the wall yelling, "Stay away from Scully!"
I really can't believe I'm having to do this. After 5 years at the Bureau, you should know better. I need your badge and gun.
That's one way to make me feel like I failed as an X-Files fan for getting the answer wrong. But what should Wilmore have known? Was he supposed to have brushed up on his knowledge of the agents on the drive over to Gold Bar? X could have at least told him that. On a side note, I could have sworn I remembered a SWAT team bursting in when she blew that whistle the first time I played this. But I must be getting confused with something else I've seen or played over the years, because no matter what I tried, I couldn't get that to happen again. If somebody watching this can prove I'm not losing my mind though, please put in the comments how to get that snippet to play. Getting back to what definitely does happen though.
We're looking for Dana Scully.
And who might you be?
Her brother.
Yes, her room is right down the hall here.
Wow. I hope Bill Jr. or Charlie didn't try visit her. Although the idea of her eldest brother being dragged away, yelling and cursing Fox Mulder's name at the top of his lungs is ridiculously entertaining.
Walter Skinner.
This is her room behind me.
How was her wound?
It's begun healing. It was mostly superficial. As to her other condition, I have no idea how to account for it.
What other condition?
I haven't been able to diagnose it yet, so I've been treating the symptoms. Lethargy, nausea, extreme listlessness, dehydration, memory loss.
All symptoms that will neither be evident when we finally meet Scully or ever fully discussed. Surprise, surprise.
Has anyone else come to see her?
Oh no, thank God you're the first.
Yes, thank God. Otherwise you might have had to blow that whistle in somebody's face.
How did she get here?
She was brought in.
By whom?
This is what used to be called a sanitarium, Detective. We're not bound by the same strictures as a conventional hospital, nor would we follow them. We pride ourselves on discretion for the patients, the better they can heal.
Is she ready to leave yet?
Oh, I wouldn't think so. Moving wouldn't be life-threatening, but she might not find it very pleasant.
Yikes! Memory loss, listlessness, unable to comfortably move around. Geez, Scully must be in really bad condition.
Are you Dana Scully?
Never mind. Just why the fuck do I keep expecting expecting this game to stick to its own threads of information. I had this whole thing planned out where I would look shocked when one of our intrepid duo finally turned up. But you can't make out like she's in serious pain or whatever, and then literally seconds later have her moving about with ease. I mean, I know Super Scully is ridiculously resilient, and I joked way back at the beginning of this rant about her not even batting an eyelid when she was shot. But come on!
Who are you?
Holy shit, she speaks!
We're here to help you.
I don't know that I need any help. Who are you?
Scully, you've been shot. You're being hunted down by the military, but have only a middle-aged woman with a whistle to protect you. And you're without your molder. You're in need of so much help right now, we may have to start a telethon. X may have been fun to mess with, but nothing beats a rare opportunity to screw with Dana Scully. Trust me, if this was not this game and I hadn't been waiting 3 frickin' discs for her to turn up, I would be warning you to never, ever piss her off, even just a little, especially when Mulder is AWOL. But Wilmore could probably do with a swift kick to the balls, and by this point, I'm kind of beyond caring.
A friend.
Listen, I'm really not in the mood. Just tell me who you are.
I'm with the Bureau.
Pardon me if that doesn't put me at ease.
What do you mean?
Let me see your ID. How do I know I can trust you? Who told you I was here?
A friend of yours.
Who?
We don't know his name.
That's ridiculous. You better explain yourself or I'm calling for help. Who sent you here? Don't move.
Whoa! Okay, no. You know what? I've let this slide for long enough. Problem number 13! The writers remember they dumped her here for a reason in the first place. Right? Because despite the fact that the game seems intent on insisting that Scully's in no condition to leave the hospital yet, not only is she showing no signs of any illness, but she also has full range use of the shoulder she was shot in at the very beginning. I know she's been here a few days, but even an unconscious Mulder wasn't in very good shape for some time after being shot in the same shoulder by Scully back in season 2 of the series. I don't care if she is a woman of solid steel. This is beyond pushing my patience with the facts this game keeps throwing away without a second thought just because they don't know how to keep them implemented or work around them.
Assistant Director Skinner asked us to look for you.
I didn't know I was lost. Who are you?
Agent Wilmore.
How do I know I can trust you? Who told you I was here?
A black man.
What black man?
I was going to query as to if that's a bit racist, but seeing as on-screen Scully knows absolutely no recurring black characters aside from X, and in later seasons Alvin Kirsch, I'll just chalk it up to the show itself being a little racist. There's only one way to stop Scully from ratting you in, and surprisingly, it's not to mention Mulder.
Agent Mulder sent us.
Agent Mulder? Where is he?
He's safe.
Good. Where is he? You don't know where Mulder is.
Yeah, try to remember that snippet for season 9, Scully. It may help keep your sanity a little. Anyway, before she pushes the alarm button, show Scully the stiletto for another example of how little this game seems dedicated to sticking to a set point in the show's timeline.
It was the man who gave me this.
All right.
He told me I couldn't tell anyone about it.
Let's talk.
Even though the alien bounty hunter used the stiletto in season 2, neither of the agents saw the weapon until the season 3 finale, Telefacumi. She has no reason to act as if it has any significance. Certainly not as proof of who sent them to find her.
Do you have any idea where Mulder is?
I have no idea, but we need to find him.
I was going to joke that she could at least try to sound a little more urgent on that point and not quite so bored, but really? You want me to believe he hasn't been calling her on that phone next to the bed every 5 minutes to check in on her? You know, when he isn't having to flash off eager fanboys.
How do you feel?
Very weak. But actually, I feel a lot better than I did when I first came in here.
Well, I would hope so, considering she'd just been shot.
Could you have radiation poisoning?
God, I hope not. But I suppose the symptoms do line up.
So, everybody but Wilmore and Astadorian, and possibly Mulder, have been made ill by the residual radiation on the Terracan? Forget the regular partners. We need to be looking at these two for our salvation from the coming virus and alien apocalypse. Even Wilmore seems surprised by this fact in his notes. Although, we probably should take a moment to at least marvel and commend Scully for her hair and makeup being absolutely immaculate, despite the fact that she's so weak and been in this backwards hospital for several days. The fanfic writers must have had a field day with this back in the day.
What is this used for?
You shouldn't show that quite so openly. I don't know what it's used for. Perhaps Mulder can tell you.
No! No, 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 no! This is seriously not a continuity supervisor on this script! Were Chris Carter and Frank Spotness too busy to edit this out? Why would she say, you shouldn't show that, and then in the same breath say, I don't know what that is? It's just as well it's not just a pen. You know, wouldn't want to go waving that about in public.
Where does the Terracon fit into all this?
Well, one way or another, they were involved in smuggling. I think that's a given. I think that there was an accident at sea involving plutonium. And Mulder thinks that they were somehow killed by an EBE.
EBE?
Extraterrestrial biological entity.
What did your autopsy on the crewman reveal?
The crew had all been exposed to levels of radiation consistent with a large-scale nuclear blast. Now, clearly that didn't happen, but Mulder took that as proof that a UFO had landed in the area and that an alien life form aboard the craft had irradiated the Terracon crew.
I take it you don't subscribe to that theory?
There is always an alternate explanation.
What happened in the warehouse?
Mulder and I observed some suspicious traffic in and out of the warehouse. We went in to investigate. We were attacked by a number of armed men. I was shot. There was an odd light. Mulder carried me out of the warehouse. I blacked out and I woke up here. I'm afraid that's all I have to offer. What can you two tell me?
Okay, we haven't done this since the end of disc 1, so I guess now is as good a time as any to catch up on what we've learned so far. I'm sure there's something that's contributed even a tiny bit to the plot. It's not like nothing's happened. I mean, there was with the thing and the flashing and oh my god, people wonder why I have problems with this. Hands up. I know I'm being completely unfair to the game at this point, and I think part of that is from the unavoidable fact that no matter how hard I try to distance myself, I can only view this from the point of somebody who knows the show's mythology inside and out. But, and you had to know that was coming, let's really break down what's happened in the space of 3 discs. We found out Wong was part of Smolnikov's crew on the Terracan, which we're being led to believe was smuggling plutonium, but fans of the show, at least anyone who saw the Season 3 two-part of Piper Maru / Apocrypha, will recognise that it was most likely transporting the black oil, either in a host or some other container. We learned that even if he hadn't been gunned down, Wong was close to death from multiple tumours and forms of cancer. A gas station surveillance camera caught sight of Mulder being pursued by somebody we later discovered was from the military, but he, clearly possessed by the black oil, irradiated the soldier before they could harm him. Oh, the office of the hauling company that had been doing stuff at the warehouse and the aforementioned soldier had been pretending to work for was blown up by either the cigarette smoking man or some strange guy we haven't met before, depending on which cutscene you believe. And after all that, Mr. X told us that none of this has anything to do with smuggling, even though, as Scully just pointed out, clearly smuggling is involved in some way or another.
This has nothing, I repeat, nothing to do with smuggled Soviet plutonium.
So, what do I have to tell her that she and Mulder probably hadn't already investigated? Why doesn't she fill us in on what case the two of them were investigating in the first place? They don't seem to have filed a 302 with Skinner, considering how clueless he was, so Mulder must have dragged Scully out there on one of his hunches. But something must have happened in the first place to warrant his attention, even if X was the one that fed them the lead. There's no real origin for this plot, and I think that's the main reason why it all comes off feeling like a load of ideas were thrown into the pot and they just went with whatever got picked out.
Well, there have been other burn victims.
One other victim, Wilmore. One. Don't exaggerate. That's my job for when it comes to moaning about how awful this game is.
I hope that doesn't mean that plutonium is being transported.
There's an unidentified man involved. We encountered him at the burn site and then later again at the hauling yard.
No. Seriously. What? Did I miss something? We only met the guy at the hauling yard there, not before. I went through the strategy guide in case I was messing up somewhere, but even it doesn't mention anyone else. And if they mean the guy that attacked Mulder, I don't remember seeing him anywhere but at the warehouse.
We found a connection between the warehouse and the hauling yard. It's a trucking outfit in Charno, Gordon's Hauling. They've made numerous deliveries between the warehouse and a rural route that we haven't had a chance to investigate.
Yeah, sorry about that. We were too busy trying to resist snogging each other's faces off. You should know how that is.
What's the matter with you?
I'm an X-File and I'm playing this game, and really, you want me to believe you weren't having fantasies about Mulder by this point, Scully? Why don't you seem even remotely bothered about what's happened to your partner since he saved your life?
Seems to me that we need to find the identity of the man from the hauling yard, and that you two need to pay a visit to the rural route address.
What are you gonna do?
Well, the first thing I'm going to do is get in touch with Assistant Director Skinner.
It's about time somebody did. He's probably sat by his phone shitting bricks, especially after he found out that was Scully's blood in the warehouse. While you're at it, drop the questionably alive Pendra a call. He's another person who was led to believe he would be kept up to date, but hasn't. Otherwise, that's pretty much all she has to offer.
And then I'm going to check out of here. I can meet up with you two later at your field office, but I think that we have to hurry. Agent Mulder may be running out of time, and if the smugglers do have him held hostage, they have little incentive to keep him alive.
You can show the photo of Smolnikov to her, but that's pretty pointless too.
Is this the man who shot you?
No, I've never seen him before.
Meaning it's finally time to head to the rural route. Almost 3 days since we learnt the address. Do hope nothing's happened in the time we had kept putting off going there.
That little PDA of yours was right. I'm impressed.
Hey, I'm not afraid of technology.
Damn it, woman! Didn't you guess that from the fact that my VCR clock was set? What more do I have to do to prove myself to you?
What is it that we're looking for again?
Somehow Astadorian just managed to sum up this whole game.
Rear quarter panel from a 64 Dodge Dart.
The bloody hell is he going on about?
Something with the number 82434 on it, right?
That's the idea. Looks like we got our work cut out for us.
Not really, because there's a conveniently placed telephone pole straight ahead of us that we can climb up. Once at the top, look right, and then you can finally use those binoculars that Wilmore somehow has stashed upon his person to spot the train car that has the number 82434 emblazoned on its roof. This is a reference to the season 3 two-parter Nisai/731, where we learned the Japanese and government were using train cars to experiment on human abductees. Or, of course, aliens, depending whether you believe Scully or Mulder's interpretation of things. I don't mind this in-joke, and it does serve a tiny purpose in the grand scheme of this story. But, personally, it just comes off feeling like a forced way to get more of the mythology in. And if that's the only way they could think of to make an X-Files spin-off game, that's really sad, because the show was so good at telling a wide range of stories. Some of the best episodes are classic Monster of the Week ones, and they would have been far more accessible to gamers that knew nothing about the show, while also being entertaining to hardcore fans. Anyway, head back down the pole to chat with Astadorian, who may or may not have been turned on by your show of boyish agility.
Whose theory do you believe, Mulder's or Scully's?
Scully's obviously a by-the-book agent. I think it's great to hear of a detective who's a creative thinker. I'm looking forward to meeting Agent Mulder.
It has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that he looks totally hot in that photo you've been carrying around. Although, do things a little differently in the lead up to this interaction, and you can actually have her disgusted by the idea of Mulder's work.
You're not serious.
Sure.
I can't believe the federal government pays Agent Mulder to run around pursuing that kind of nonsense. EBEs? That's ridiculous.
Again, showcasing the fact that this game does actually try to have your different responses affect the attitudes of other characters towards you.
What could they use this place for?
Are you kidding? I'm surprised their operation is this big. The thought of plutonium traveling all over the country via rail is pretty terrifying.
Especially considering Amtrak's record.
Yeah.
This yard is deserted. These boxcars haven't been used in years.
Now we really do have our work cut out for us, because if there's one thing that sticks out in my memory from the first ever time I played this 17 years ago, it's walking up and down rows of train cars, waving the cursor back and forth over the screen until I could finally do something. Yeah, binoculars helped you spot what you're looking for from above, but because of the angle of the shots, I never found it gave any clear bearing. For those not wanting to get lost here as well, go right, forward, right again, and forward a couple times to find the burnt out remains of what you're looking for. Maybe if Wilmore hadn't waited so frickin' long to follow this lead, we might have actually found some evidence to expose this whole conspiracy.
This car's been burned.
I'm so glad that the game felt the need to stop me doing anything for 15 seconds just to make that tiny observation.
Well, obviously this fire is recent. This looks like an operating room of some kind.
You can look at some of the scientific apparatus along the worktops, but there's nothing to do or interact with otherwise, so turn back towards Astadorian and leave. There go 2 minutes of your life you'll sadly never get back. It wouldn't have felt so pointless if the developers had even just given you a conversation with your partner about who could have done this or whatever, but don't be silly. We're talking about this particular game after all.
Hey!
Hey!
I didn't do nothing.
Nobody said that you did. We just want to talk to you.
Cue best character in this whole game! I'm not even being sarcastic when I say that. Every time I watch this scene, I'm always reminded of Dwight Schultz's portrayal of Murdoch in the A-Team series.
Is this your home? Home is where the heart is, near or far away.
That was informative.
Okay, sure, he's ridiculously cheesy and over the top, but at least he's supposed to be like that, whereas everybody else has been tediously one-dimensional.
What's this place used for? Well, Don, the Boy Scouts conduct covert operations out here. You seen any men in suits or uniforms running around? Oh, yeah, all the time. Really? Yeah, ask Jane. I'm besieged by sniveling toadies trying to cheat me out of my sugar fortune. It's been a fire in a boxcar back there. You know anything about that? Sure, Don. I saw the guys who set it.
What did they look like?
Bloodless yuppies in cheap suits. 2 of them. They backed that car up here yesterday and set fire to it in my own backyard. Can you believe that? I have some stuff, Don. Got it out of that burnt car. You may want it.
What kind of stuff?
What, from the boxcar?
Yeah, the boxcar.
You tell me, Don. What kind of stuff do I have?
And here begins 20 questions with the homeless guy. Except you don't get 20 chances of guessing what he's holding, so be sure to save now. Trying to navigate the options can be fun, albeit sometimes frustrating. So if you want to experience this guessing game without knowing the answer, feel free to stop watching this video now and join me in the next installment of the Rant whenever I get to upload it. For here be spoilers! Which is probably a warning I should have given back at the beginning of this whole project, but spoilers! There are several answers, some of which are more entertaining than others.
Papers?
Papers, yeah, you'd like that. Tax returns. My tax returns, probably. You from the IRS?
No, actually, we're...
Never mind, Jane. I don't want to know.
And if you're completely clueless, you can ask for a hint. But with this guy, you can probably guess how useful that is.
Give me a hint.
Memories, like the corners of my mind. Misty, watercolored memories of the way we were.
Everything leads you to video footage, more specifically a tape. But as I said before, you don't get 20 chances at determining the answer. And if you guess incorrectly half a dozen times, your game will be abruptly brought to its end.
Sorry, you lose.
And why the hell Wilmore doesn't just take the guy in for questioning, aside from the possible smell, instead of just standing there looking lost, is completely beyond me. Thankfully though, I know the correct answer. But apparently don't have $10 to procure the tape from his grubby hands. What do you want to bet that if this was a game today, I would have to make an actual microtransaction to continue? Either way, I can't exactly see this winning any affection from Astadorian.
Videotape?
Yes, sir. We have a winner. Videotape it is. Congratulations. That was fun. I really enjoyed that. Thank you. $10. Pleasure doing business with you.
Thanks.
I mean, look! You can't even have a conversation with her about the encounter afterwards. That just proves how pissed she is about that $10. In all seriousness, though, I really do love this encounter, and it furthers the plot in a way some of the other convenient instances don't. There really isn't any need for it to go on any longer, but I do feel I missed out on an opportunity to have the two make some comment to each other about it.